There are almost 70 million Americans right now who are staring at their Social Security statement and doing the same terrifying math. The average check is $1,900 a month. Rent alone in most American cities eats over half of that before you've bought a single meal, filled a single prescription, or paid a single utility bill. And the retirement calculators, the financial advisors, the government brochures, none of them tell you the one thing that could change everything. You do not have to spend your retirement broke in the country where you worked for 40 years. There are places on this earth right now, real cities, real neighborhoods with clean water, modern hospitals, and warm weather where that same $1,900 check doesn't just cover your bills. It covers your bills, your rent, your groceries, a housekeeper twice a week, and dinner out on Friday nights. We spent weeks digging through cost of living data, expat forums, residency visa requirements, and interviews with Americans who already made the jump. And what we found is 9 countries where a small pension or a Social Security check alone is enough to live a life most working Americans can't afford anymore. Some of these will surprise you. One of them might be the last country you'd ever expect. Stay to the end, because number 1 is the country where American retirees are quietly moving, in the thousands, and almost nobody in the mainstream media is talking about it. Let's start at number 9, and this one is for anyone who still wants the comforts of home without the price tag. Portugal has become the single most talked about retirement destination for Americans in the last 5 years, and once you see the numbers, you'll understand why. In Lisbon, the overall cost of living, including rent, runs 30 to 50% lower than a city like New York or San Francisco. A retired couple can rent a comfortable 1-bedroom apartment outside the tourist center for around $900 to $1,100 a month. Groceries for 2 people run about $350 monthly if you shop at local markets instead of the imported goods aisle. Portugal also has a national healthcare system, and once you're a legal resident paying into it, coverage extends to you often at little to no cost for basic care. The country has actively courted American retirees with residency visas designed specifically for people living on fixed income. And as of the most recent count, nearly 20,000 U.S. citizens now call Portugal home. English is widely spoken in Lisbon and Porto. The wine is absurdly cheap, and the pace of life is slower in a way that feels less like retirement and more like a permanent vacation. A couple living on 2 average Social Security checks, roughly $3,800 a month, combined live here comfortably with money left over every single month. Beyond Lisbon, smaller cities like Coimbra and the Algarve region offer even lower costs, with some retirees reporting total monthly expenses under $2,000 for a couple, including occasional trips to nearby Spain or Morocco that cost less than a weekend trip within the United States would. Portugal's climate along the coast rarely dips below 50 degrees, even in winter, and the Atlantic breeze keeps summer heat manageable without needing air conditioning running around the clock, which alone can save you over $100 a month compared to a hot, humid American city. The country also ranks consistently as one of the safest nations on Earth, with violent crime rates a fraction of what you'd find in most major American cities. Something that matters enormously when you're walking home from dinner at 9 at night in an unfamiliar place. Number 8 takes us to Central America, to a country most Americans only know from geography class. Costa Rica has quietly built one of the most retiree-friendly tax systems on the planet. Here's the detail almost nobody mentions. Costa Rica has a territorial tax system, which means your foreign income, your Social Security check, your pension, your investment income. None of it gets taxed by the Costa Rican government. You keep every single dollar. Property taxes sit at a stunningly low 0.25%. So even if you buy a home outright, your annual tax bill might be a few $100s, not a few thousand. A one-bedroom apartment averages around $900 a month, and a single retiree can live well, not just survive, but live well on $1,600 to $2,200 monthly. That number covers rent, food, transportation, and healthcare. Costa Rica actually eliminated its military decades ago and redirected that spending into healthcare and education. And today, the country has one of the best public health systems in Latin America, ranked in some studies above the United States for overall patient outcomes. The climate ranges from tropical beaches to cool mountain towns, so you're not stuck picking between humidity and altitude sickness. You choose your climate the way you'd choose a neighborhood. Popular retirement towns like Atenas and Grisha sit at an elevation that gives you spring-like temperatures, 365 days a year, no air conditioning required. No brutal winters to survive either. Costa Rica has also been ranked repeatedly as one of the happiest countries on Earth in global well-being. Surveys something locals attribute to a cultural philosophy called Pura Vida, roughly translated as pure life. A mindset that shows up in everything from how neighbors treat each other to how patiently people wait in line at the grocery store. For a retiree who spent 40 years in the stress of American work culture, that shift alone is worth more than any spreadsheet can capture. The expat community here has existed for decades, which means the infrastructure to support you. English-speaking doctors, bilingual lawyers, real estate agents who specialize in foreign buyers is already fully built and battle-tested. At number 7, we're heading to Southeast Asia, to a country that consistently tops every cost of living index in the world for retirees. Vietnam is, by almost every measurement, one of the cheapest places on Earth to live well. Outside of Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City, in smaller cities and coastal towns, a single retiree can live comfortably on $1,000 to $1,500 a month. That includes a modern apartment, all your meals, transportation, and entertainment. Street food, which is genuinely excellent and safe in most tourist and expat areas, costs $1 or $2 per meal. A haircut costs $3. A doctor's visit at a private clinic, the kind of clinic expats actually use, runs $20 to $30 without insurance. The trade-off here is that Vietnam's visa system is less straightforward than Portugal's or Costa Rica's, and most retirees end up doing visa runs or working with a local agent to maintain long-term residency. But for anyone whose Social Security check barely breaks $1,500 a month, Vietnam is one of the only places on this list where that check alone with zero savings behind it could fund an entire comfortable life. Coastal cities like Da Nang and Nha Trang have become quiet favorites among American and European retirees, precisely because they offer beach-living modern high-rise apartments with ocean views and a genuine sense of community, all at prices that would be unthinkable on any American coastline. Da Nang, in particular, has invested heavily in infrastructure over the last decade, with new international hospitals expanding international schools for retirees who bring grandchildren to visit, and an airport with direct flights to major Asian hubs. Vietnamese culture places deep respect on elders, something many American retirees say they notice immediately, a level of everyday courtesy and deference that stands in stark contrast to how aging is often treated back home. Number 6 brings us to Thailand, and this is the country that international retirement publications have ranked as one of the best places to retire on this planet for over 3 decades running. The flexibility here is what makes Thailand remarkable. A frugal retiree living in Chiang Mai can survive on $1,200 a month, renting a studio for $300, eating incredible Thai food for $10 a day, and still affording the occasional $2 beer at happy hour. But a couple living on 2 average Social Security checks combined, again, around $3,800 a month, can live what can only be described as luxuriously. A beachside 2-bedroom bungalow in a town like Hua Hin or Pattaya for under $1,000. groceries running $300 to $400, air conditioning running 24 hours a day without the electric bill ever crossing $150. Transportation costs, whether it's a car, a motorbike, or just relying on Thailand's cheap and reliable public transit, rarely exceed $100 a month. Thailand's private hospitals are internationally accredited, and many expats report better, faster, and more personal care than they ever received under American insurance, at a fraction of the price. Bangkok's Bumrungrad Hospital alone treats over 1 million patients a year, many of them medical tourists flying in specifically for procedures that would bankrupt them in the United States, with the same equipment, the same certifications, and often the same English-speaking doctors trained at American universities. Thailand's retirement visa, often called the OA visa, requires proof of income or a bank deposit, and once established, it renews annually with minimal hassle for retirees who keep their paperwork in order. The country's Buddhist culture creates a rhythm of life built around calm community temples, and morning markets a texture of daily living that a lot of American retirees describe as the single biggest quality of life improvement they experience, more than the money they save. At number 5, we're going to Mexico, and this one deserves special attention because of simple geography. Mexico is close enough to drive to. If you have family back home, if you want to fly back for a grandchild's birthday without spending 15 hours in the air, Mexico solves a problem none of the Asian or European destinations on this list can solve. Roughly 1.5 million Americans already live in Mexico, making it the largest population of American expats anywhere on Earth. And that number keeps climbing every year. Cities like Lake Chapala, San Miguel de Allende, and Merida have entire American and Canadian retiree communities, complete with English-language book clubs, expat-run restaurants, and Facebook groups with thousands of members trading tips daily. A comfortable one-bedroom apartment in most of these areas runs $600 to $900 a month. A couple can live well on $1,800 to $2,400 monthly, including rent. Healthcare in Mexico's private system is shockingly affordable, with many procedures costing 1/10 of the American price, and medical tourism to Mexico for dental work and elective surgery has become its own industry because Americans are flying down specifically to save money, even after factoring in the flight. Puerto Vallarta and the entire Pacific Coast offer a genuine beach retirement, complete with American grocery chains, familiar big-box stores, and direct flights to a dozen American cities, so getting home for a holiday or an emergency never requires more than a few hours in the air. Mexico's residency process is also one of the most straightforward on this entire list. With a temporary resident visa that converts to permanent residency after 4 years requiring proof of steady income, roughly in line with a typical Social Security check, no elaborate investment or property purchase required. Number 4 takes us to Colombia, a country that has transformed its image over the last 2 decades and is now one of the fastest-growing retirement destinations in Latin America. Colombia's Pensionado Visa program requires proof of pension, Social Security, or disability income of around $1,400 a month. And once approved, that visa opens the door to permanent residency. Medellin has earned the nickname City of Eternal Spring because of its year-round temperatures between 63 and 82 degrees, and it now hosts the largest expat community in the country. A comfortable, high-quality retirement lifestyle here runs $1,500 to $3,000 a month, depending on how you want to live. On the lower end, you're renting a nice apartment in a good neighborhood, eating out several times a week, and still saving money every month compared to what you'd spend in the United States. Colombia's healthcare system is ranked among the best in Latin America, and private insurance for a retiree can cost as little as $100 a month. For comprehensive coverage that would cost 4 or 5 times that back home. Beyond Medellin, the colonial city of Cartagena offers a Caribbean coastal lifestyle with colorful architecture that draws comparisons to Havana without the political complications of actually retiring in Cuba. Bogotá, the capital, sits at high altitude with a permanently cool, spring-like climate and offers a level of big city culture, museums, theater, fine dining that smaller retirement towns simply can't match for retirees who miss the energy of a real metropolitan area, but not the metropolitan prices. At number 3, we're heading to Panama, and this country deserves its reputation as one of the single best retirement havens in the world, largely because of one program. Panama's Pensionado program is, without exaggeration, one of the most generous retiree benefit systems on the planet, and it's available to foreigners, not just citizens. Once approved, retirees get discounts of 25 to 50% on everything from movie tickets and restaurants to airline fares, medical services, and even loan interest rates. A single retiree living simply can get by on around $2,400 a month, including rent, while someone living a genuinely social, active lifestyle might spend closer to $2,900 monthly, and that figure includes a mortgage payment, not just rent. Panama offers everything from cool mountain towns like Boquete and Volcan to bohemian surf towns to Caribbean coastline in Bocas del Toro. The country uses the US dollar as its currency, which eliminates exchange rate risk entirely, something none of the other countries on this list can offer. Panama City itself has a skyline that looks more like Miami than anywhere else in Central America, with world-class hospitals staffed by doctors trained in the United States and Europe. The Pensionado program also includes a rule that lets retirees import a car and household goods tax-free once, a benefit that can save thousands of dollars for anyone bringing furniture, appliances, or a vehicle from the United States rather than buying everything new. Panama's banking system is considered one of the most stable in Latin America, built around decades of serving as a financial hub for the entire region, which gives retirees a level of confidence in moving and managing their money that some other countries on this list simply can't match. Number 2 is the country most people don't expect to see on a list like this, and that's exactly why it matters. Malaysia has quietly built one of the most sophisticated retiree visa programs in the world called Malaysia My Second Home, and it was specifically designed to attract foreign retirees with long-term residency in exchange for proof of steady income. The cost of living here rivals Vietnam and Thailand, but with a critical difference. English is an official second language taught in every school, spoken fluently in every city, used on every official government document. There is no language barrier here at all. A single retiree can live comfortably on $1,200 to $1,600 a month in cities outside Kuala Lumpur, with rent for a modern one-bedroom condo running $400 to $600. Malaysia's healthcare system regularly ranks among the top medical tourism destinations on Earth, with hospitals that look and function like five-star hotels, at prices that are a small fraction of American costs. The country is religiously and culturally diverse, safe, modern, and largely undiscovered by American retirees, which means you won't be competing with thousands of other Americans for housing or driving up local prices the way retirees have in parts of Mexico and Portugal. Penang, an island off Malaysia's northwest coast, has become a particular favorite, combining colonial architecture, some of the best street food in all of Asia, and a laid-back island pace of life with genuinely modern hospitals and shopping malls just minutes away. Malaysia's My Second Home program also allows retirees to bring dependents' own property outright as a foreigner in most cases, and in some categories, even work part-time, locally, a flexibility almost none of the other countries on this list can offer. And that brings us to number 1, the country where American retirees have been moving in growing numbers, quietly, without much media attention, and for very good reason: Ecuador has emerged as arguably the single best value retirement destination on the planet, right now, combining Vietnam-level affordability with Latin American accessibility and a level of natural beauty that genuinely competes with anywhere in the world. Cuenca, a colonial city in the Andes Mountains, has become the epicenter of American retirement migration, with an established expat community numbers in the thousands, English-language medical clinics, American-run restaurants, and a spring-like climate year-round, thanks to its elevation. A single retiree in Cuenca can live comfortably on $1,000 to $1,400 a month, covering a spacious apartment, all meals, transportation, and healthcare. A couple can live very well on $1,800 to $2,200 monthly. Ecuador also uses the US dollar as its official currency, just like Panama, which means zero exchange rate risk and zero currency conversion headaches. Healthcare here is remarkably good for the price. With a public system retirees can join for around $80 a month, total covering nearly everything, and a private system for those who want faster access running only slightly more. The country's residency visa for retirees requires proof of roughly $800 a month in guaranteed income, which means many Americans qualify on Social Security alone, without touching a single dollar of savings. Beyond Cuenca, coastal towns like Salinas offer a beach retirement at prices even lower than inland cities, while the capital, Quito, gives retirees who want museums, historic architecture, and big city amenities a genuine metropolitan option, without genuine metropolitan prices. Ecuador's Andean geography means you can quite literally choose your climate by choosing your elevation from cool mountain air in Cuenca to warm coastal breezes a few hours away, all within the same small country, all reachable by a bus ticket that costs less than a fast food meal back home. Here's what nobody in the retirement industry wants to say out loud. The system in the United States was never actually designed for you to retire comfortably on Social Security alone. It was designed as a supplement, one leg of what used to be called a three-legged stool pension, personal savings, and Social Security working together. But pensions have largely disappeared from the private sector. Personal savings rates in America remain some of the lowest in the developed world, and that leaves an enormous number of retirees standing on one single leg, trying to balance an entire retirement on a check that averages under $2,000 a month. The math simply does not work in most American cities anymore, and it hasn't for years. What these 9 countries prove is that the math absolutely can work, just not within the same 800-square-foot apartment in the same overpriced American zip code you've been staring at. None of this means uprooting your entire life overnight, and none of this is a decision to make impulsively. Every single one of these countries has its own visa requirements, its own timeline, its own paperwork, and its own learning curve. Healthcare abroad, while often excellent and shockingly affordable, does require research into what's covered, what isn't, and how prescription medications you currently rely on translate to a foreign pharmacy system. Language, even in English-friendly places like Malaysia or Portugal's major cities, still requires some adjustment for daily errands and doctor's appointments. And leaving behind family, friends, and the community you've spent decades building is a real cost that no spreadsheet can measure. But for the millions of Americans who are watching their Social Security check disappear into rent by the 15th of every month, who are choosing between medication and groceries, who are working part-time jobs well into their 70s. Because staying in place simply isn't affordable anymore, these 9 countries represent something that used to feel impossible. A retirement that isn't just survivable, but genuinely comfortable, funded by the exact same check you're already receiving right now. If you're seriously considering a move like this, the first step isn't booking a flight. It's contacting the Social Security Administration directly to confirm exactly how your benefits transfer overseas, because the rules differ depending on which country you choose, and a small number of countries actually restrict Social Security payments entirely. It's also worth speaking with a cross-border financial advisor who specializes in expat retirement, because tax treaties between the United States and your destination country can dramatically affect how much of your income you actually keep. And before committing to anything permanent, every single expat community we researched for this video said the same thing. Visit first. Rent for 3 to 6 months before you buy anything, sign anything long-term, or sell anything back home. The country that looks perfect in a video like this one still needs to feel right when you're standing in it. Dealing with a rainy season, a grocery store that doesn't carry your favorite brand, or a doctor's office that operates on a different system than you're used to. The retirement crisis in America isn't going away, and for most people watching this, the number on your Social Security statement isn't going to suddenly double. But where you choose to spend that number, that's still entirely up to you. Which one of these 9 countries surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments, and if you want us to go deeper into the visa process for any specific country on this list, tell us which one, because we're already researching the next video.